golden leaves, and I'll drive all day with not a care in the world. Amber eyes, you're giving me butterflies, so I'll drive all day with not a care in the world.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is going to be a video on how to put a GPS and a tilt servo for your camera on your FPV RC car. So over here I have a tilt gimbal for an FPV camera. So I got the 03 version from, I think it's called Atomic RC. So I got it off AliExpress. So it's actually a three-point gimbal. So it can do tilt as well as it can also do sideways as well. So it has two servos controlling that. Since my camera cable was too small, I had to cut it down to just tilt for now. But yeah, both of them work. It's fairly simple. It's not that difficult to put it. It's just they have instructions. Instructions are a little wonky, but it's easy to figure out. So this is the new setup here. If anyone has an idea on how I can protect this, because in a crash I'm pretty sure everything's going to come apart, because these have been holded on through by just 4 screws on the bottom. So that's it. So if there's anyone who can suggest a better option to protect the cameras, that would be great. Alright guys, so this is the GPS that I put on. So it's an old GPS, it's pretty old. So I've wired it to the flight controller, which is in here, and I've put it on one of the UARTs on it. So I'm going to tell you how we set up iNav, GPS rescue on iNav, which is fairly simple. Only a few things, because since it's an RC car, you have to change your throttle values and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's not exactly like drone GPS where on iNav it follows whatever path you take. Yes, it does follow whatever path you take, but since it's not very accurate, there's a difference in the path that it takes. So it follows roughly the same path, not exactly the same path. If you're going into a forest or something, don't expect it to come back without hitting every tree in the forest, because I tried that and it doesn't work. Maybe there's another way, but I'll update you shortly whenever I find it out, if there's another way to put it on like that. So yeah. So on here I can change it. So if you look at this, right, I can change servo. On here I can change servo mixer to 6, so I've put it on S6, so the servo should be on S6, and here we can change the channel, which I put it on the swivel wheel, so which was channel 9 on my RC, on my remote. So this is going to be on channel 9. Next we go to outputs. So outputs as well, so when you turn on the servo as like servo 6, you're going to find the servo number 6 is active, so it will not be grayed out. Next we go to ports. Everything's fine on that, so we go to receiver first, and then on here you don't actually need to do anything, because all you need to do is check if channel 9 is moving, and it should be fine. So let's go back to ports here and then set up GPS. So on iNav, to set up GPS, so I've connected my GPS to UART3, so that's why I've selected GPS from the drop down menu. So on the sensors you can find it. So that's that. Configuration, everything's fine. If you want GPS to work, you need to turn on GPS. navigation, telemetry output, all this. Didn't change anything on this. So we go next, failsafe. So on failsafe, you need to put return to home. Let's go to advanced tuning. Before that, let's just go to modes so that you can set up a switch for failsafe and return to home. So there was a point when it returned home, the switch wasn't working. So I used failsafe as a return to home method. So you can turn it off and on, it doesn't matter. Adjustments, GPS. So when you get a lock on GPS, since I'm indoors, I'm not getting too many sets. And this is an old GPS, so I had a M10 GPS that I plugged in wrong and it fried. So if you have an M10 or a newer GPS, it should fairly, if you keep it for a long time, you can find GPS and stuff on here. So over here, it'll show you where you are and stuff. So on the serial port, you need to change all this. Put U-blocks. Everyone uses U-blocks. Some in Europe, so European, North American, all that. GPS and Galileo satellites, turn that on. Yeah. Also, so now let's go to the advanced tuning bit. So there's a few things you need to know about it. It's this fixed wing navigation settings. So this is what you need to change. So this will be most probably 1000. So the minimum throttle will be 1000. So you need to change that to 1500 because on the receiver, your midpoint is 1500. So change that to 1500. Now the next thing you need to change is max throttle. So when you're coming back, you don't need to be punching back home. So I did this. What I did is I put it as 2000. So what it does is that will be your max throttle, which is insane because you don't want to go 60 miles an hour coming back and into a tree or something like that. So I put it as 1750. Cruise throttle. This is the throttle that what I found is this is the throttle that counts when it comes to return to home. So it's going to take 1650 as a cruise throttle for returning to home. So I've put this as, I think it was 1850. Sometimes what happens is it does a circle around it turns around basically, and then if it turns around, you don't want it to be turning around at, let's say, if your truck goes 30 miles an hour on 60% or 70%, 80% throttle, you don't want that. So you need this to be 1650, which is fairly quick but not too slow, because the cruise control is what you should be using. So these are fairly simple, but I think these were 500 and these default values are 500. I've changed this, so I'm not sure exactly if this also factors in. And return to home is set as, so safe home mode is return to home failsafe. I've changed this. Oh yeah, and also this one, never. So land after return to home is never, because you don't want it disarming.
Cause with you by my side, I gotta ride or die. We'll be rebels, you and me. Sailing towards the sun like we're shot from guns, living in